Hapi, the Egyptian god. The background of Egyptian mythology. It originated years ago in 4000 BCE and dealt with the ancient life and the creation of the world. It introduced the concept of life after death, which was later carried on throughout many myths. The Egyptians believed that the human life was only a small aspect of your whole life. Hapi, also known as Hep, was one of the oldest Egyptian gods. He was the water and fertility god, and his symbol was running water. His name is believed to be the first name for the Nile River. What was he portrayed as? A male with breasts and a pregnant belly as a symbol of fertility. He was sometimes depicted with green or blue skin, wearing a false beard. His body represents his power to nourish the land through the Nile's annual flood, and his full breasts indicate that he is the god of fertility. The North and the South. Hapi ruled both the northern and southern parts of Egypt. In the north, he was seen wearing a papyrus plant, and in the south, he was wearing the lotus plant. Hapi had two wives, one for the north and one for the south. In the north, he was married to Boto, and in the south, he was married to Nekabet. Hapi's wives were also depicted as animals. Nekabet was depicted as a vulture, and Boto was depicted as a cobra. Osiris and Hapi. Hapi and Osiris were both gods in Egypt. However, Hapi refused to share his water power, and therefore is known as one of the greatest gods there was. However, Osiris did have children with both of his wives in the northern and the south, unlike Hapi, who was the fertility god with no children. The arrival of Hapi. It is believed that the Nile flowed from Hapi's home in the heavens to the land of the dead before emerging between two mountains to flow through Egypt. The Egyptians sacrificed to him during the arrival of Hapi in hopes of keeping him satisfied. Hapi was also often depicted carrying food as an offering or pouring water from his cup. Hapi controlled the amounts of water that flooded from the Nile. He was in charge of how much would flood and where it would flood. The Egyptians would toss amulets and other offerings into the Nile to try to appease Hapi in hopes of controlling the flood. Many Egyptians would also place statues of Hapi in their towns to ensure that he would look after them and give them the proper amount of water to their land and fields. The flood was very important to the farming life. The annual flooding was a very tense time because if the water was too low, there would be insignificant amounts of water for farming, but if the floodwater got too high, then it would ruin the mud brick homes. Hapi's depiction. It is rare, but Hapi is sometimes depicted as a hippo. This is because he can be a very dangerous person during the flood times, much like a hippo could be. While there is no temples of Hapi, he is seen in temples of others. He is still worshipped today by people who live on and near the Nile River. This is clearly because of his role in the annual flooding, but the people also praise the god of his help for bringing water to the fields for the